The browser's viewport is the visible area of the window where we can see web content. Sometimes the rendered page is larger than the viewport, so the browser adds scroll bars to let users scroll and access all the content. On some mobile devices and narrow screens, pages are displayed in a virtual window or viewport that is wider than the screen. The rendered result is then scaled down to show everything at once. Users can zoom in and out or pan across the page to examine different areas more closely. For instance, if a mobile screen is 640 pixels wide, page might be rendered in a virtual viewport of 980 pixels, and then scaled down to fit the 640 pixels space. This is done because not all pages are optimized for mobile, and may break or not look good when displayed in a small viewport width. The virtual viewport is used to improve the appearance of non-mobile optimized websites on narrow screens. However, this method is not suitable for pages that are already optimized for narrow screens using media queries. Media queries are mainly used to create responsive web pages. These pages can change their appearance to give the best user experience on different devices and screen sizes. If we have designed a page with media queries for different screen widths, we need to set the viewport using a meta tag. Otherwise, the media queries won't work properly. For example, if the virtual viewport is set to 980 pixels, any media queries targeting 640 pixels, 480 pixels, or smaller screens will not be applied. This limits the effectiveness of responsive design techniques. To address this issue on narrow screens, we can use the viewport meta tag. This tag provides instructions to the web browser on how to display the web page's content and dimensions on different devices. It sets the viewport's width, initial scale, and other essential parameters that impact how the page is rendered. Hello guys, welcome again. One important thing when creating a user-friendly web page is making sure it looks good on different devices and screen sizes. In this lecture, we'll show you how to achieve that. Alright, let's take a look at our document and see how it appears on various screens. To do this, right-click and choose the Inspect option. Next, click on this icon to open the device toolbar. The device toolbar lets developers simulate how a web page looks and works on various devices and screen sizes. Okay, as you can see, the browser automatically zooms out our page to fit all the content. To prevent this, we can use the viewport meta tag and set the screen width. Okay, to include the viewport meta tag in our HTML document, we need to add it within the head element. For this meta tag, let's add the name attribute with the value viewport to provide viewport information. The second attribute is the content, where we can define the viewport's width and initial scale. To set a specific width, we can use a value in pixels, like 500. Alternatively, we can use device-width to make it adjust to the current device's width, which is recommended for a better user experience. Now, let's consider the initial scale property. It determines the zoom level when the page loads. We can set it from 0.1 to 10, but the default value is 1. Let's set it to 1. Okay, let's take another look at our page now. If you've added or modified the viewport settings but don't see any change, make sure to toggle this toolbar by clicking on this icon twice. Alright, as you can see, there is no zooming out and the page looks much better. Now let's zoom in by setting the initial scale to 2. After that, you may need to scroll the page to view all of its content. Alright, apart from width and initial scale, there are other properties we can adjust in the viewport meta tag. For example, we can also set the height property. It works similar to width, where we can assign a specific value in pixels, like 800. Alternatively, we can use device-height, which is the recommended value. The viewport meta tag also has two other properties called minimum scale and maximum scale. These properties control the level of zoom allowed on the page. They prevent users from zooming out or zooming in too far. By default, the minimum scale is set to 0.1 and the maximum scale is set to 10. Another property is user scalable, which determines whether users can zoom at all. Valid values are 0 or no to disable zooming, and 1 or yes to enable zooming. It's important to note that disabling zooming goes against web content accessibility guidelines and can result in a poor user experience, so we recommend setting its value to 1 or yes. However, it's worth mentioning that setting the width to device-width and the initial scale to 1 is generally sufficient and also recommended. This means that any browser will adjust the page to fit its own screen width. As a result, our content will automatically adapt to different devices and always look great. Okay, the viewport meta tag itself doesn't directly affect our website's ranking. However, it does improve the user experience, which can indirectly impact our ranking in Google Search Engine Results page, or SERP. One of the main reasons for this is Google's focus on mobile-first indexing. This means that Google considers the mobile version of our website when determining its ranking in the SERP. By having a proper viewport meta tag, we ensure that our content is mobile-friendly. This means users won't have to zoom or scroll to read our content, which increases our chances of ranking higher. Okay, done. See you soon with another lecture.